Right. Well, hello everyone. Uh, you know, um, anyway, I'm glad to be here. A few technical difficulties. Apologies for those that I've started and stopped on, but here we go again. This is Thursday. It's like 3:35 now, and I'm Doug Wilkerson. I'm with Central Christian Center and Saturday Night Live. This is a encouraging word from Doug. Hopefully, it'll be encouraging. I I uh, I I want to encourage you, but today maybe I will just give you something to think about, something to mull over, maybe even some new ways of thinking. Hopefully, that won't be too shocking to you. But anyway. Today we're going to be talking about are you living from the head or from the heart? And it may be some new thinking for you, but give me a chance. Give me a chance, please. So anyway, just take a deep breath and relax, and tell me what you think after this is all over. If this is too much for you, let me know. I may do something different, but then again, who knows? So anyway, we're going to be going out of Proverbs chapter 3, verse 5 and 6, and it says this out of the New King James, says, "Trust in the Lord with all your heart, and lean not into your own understanding, and all thy ways acknowledge him, and he will direct your path." We'll be coming back to that in a little bit. We think of people that live out of their head as maybe being calculated, and those that live out of their heart may be more emotional connected. And it's a real battle between the head and the heart. Now, a lot of my life, I put a high premium on living out of my head. In fact, I remember talking with a man that used to be a minister. Actually, he was with the Christian Church Organization. That he went to OBC here at Joplin, Missouri, and he was a minister for many years. But we were talking, and he said, I was always just living and ministering out of my head. And at this time, he had stopped pastoring because he realized that he wasn't connected with his heart, and he was made a shift in his life and was seeking God and getting connected with his heart. And I'm not downplaying the value of being connected with our head, but what I'm really trying to talk about here today is I'm wanting to increase the value and the importance of our heart and being connected with our heart. So let's go forward. Mark Twain said this: "It ain't what you don't know that gets you into trouble. It's what you know for sure that just ain't so." And so, oftentimes we think we're on the right path, as that minister friend he thought at one time, but then he realized where he was at, it just wasn't so. He needed to make some shifts. And today I just want you to reflect. I don't try to tell people what to think. I just want to help them to learn how to think. That's so important. And God has given us that ability. But as we talk, it's about not only thinking with our head, but also letting our heart lead us in that. So let's go forward. Do we have an unconscious belief in our head that our heart is deceitfully wicked and that we need to stay out of our heart? Consciously or unconsciously, sometimes we have these beliefs that we're sure on, but they're just not so. And anyway, hey, you figure it out for yourself. I'm not telling you what to think. I'm just wanting you to think. So, out of Jeremiah, and here we go. Jeremiah 17, verse 9. Maybe we'll read verse 10. It says the heart is deceitfully above all things, for the heart is deceitful above all things and despicably wicked. Who can know it? And that word is to be incredibly sick, incurably sick. Excuse me, incurably sick, and that's been kind of maybe an unconscious message to a lot of us that says there's something wrong with all of us. Our heart is sick and it's incurable. We can't cure it. That who knows it? It's wicked above everything else. But is that really what God was trying to get across to us? Maybe we were sick, but I've got a question for you. Isn't that what Jesus came to do, was to heal us, to restore us, to put us in right relationship, to bring us into a proper heart space with Him? Just a question. The persons who control their heart controls a strategic place. We need to control that heart, in my opinion, and we'll talk a little more about that. Proverbs. Let's use another scripture here. Now, this is an interesting scripture. I think it's a very powerful scripture, but it has caused me to take pause in the past. And this is out of Proverbs 23:7. It says, "As a man thinks in his heart, so is he." So as a man, woman, boy, girl, old or young person thinks in their heart, so are they. So we're linking thinking and our heart together here in this scripture. And in my earlier days, I thought, well, maybe it's just it's a knowing in our heart, so they're calling it thinking, and maybe so. But recently, I came across some neuro research, and the researchers found that there's brain neurons in our heart. And in fact, they call this the little heart. No, the little brain in your heart. And so we have this capacity inside of our heart. So we have the big brain, we have the little brain. And could it be possible that this is something that God was talking about? Well, I mean, He knew about it. He put it there, right? Proverbs 3:5-6 says, "Trust in the Lord with all your heart, and lean not into your own understanding, and in all thy ways acknowledge Him, and He will direct your path." I'm going to touch that right there. He will direct your path. So if we are able to trust Him with our whole heart and not lean to our own understanding, or the idea that I get from that is our present world understanding that we have that is not lined up with God's understanding. And if we were to trust in our whole heart and not lean to that understanding, but allow the truth of God to guide us, then He will direct our path. That word path is translated into direct. Your path is to make smooth or straight. So He'll straighten out our path and He'll make it smoother if we are to trust Him. Now, the trouble is, we think that we should live out of our heart. I mean, for a lot of years in my own life, I shut off my heart. I didn't want to have emotions. That was a bad thing. And just try to, I just wanted to live out of my head. There was a lot of times I would say, and maybe you've said too, if I could just figure this out, if I could get my head wrapped around this, then I'd feel better about it. And the fact of it is, we would feel better a little bit about it if we can get our head wrapped around it. But at the same time, even after we get all the facts, oftentimes we still feel very insecure and unsure. So maybe we need to let our heart lead us into those places to help us. You know, a lot of times we feel like if we're emotional or we're being controlled by our heart, we think, well, that's living in emotions, and if we're living in emotions, then we're going to be out of control, and we don't want to be out of control because we want to be in control. But the real secret here is that if we steady ourselves in God's love and trust God, and we have that peace that surpasses all understanding, then we will have a greater life because we're actually controlling our heart, and our heart is being synchronized with our brain. We call that heart coherence. Abraham Maslow has the hierarchy of needs, and a lot of us, the base need of Maslow's laws is that basically we got to be able to live, we got to be able to take care of ourselves, and we got to have a form of safety. Those are what we call survival needs. We got to be able to survive before we're able to go forward. And oftentimes we get stuck, we have gotten stuck in just surviving. And life is really more than surviving. Yes, I understand you have to survive to really live, and I mean live wholeheartedly, but if we just stay stuck in survival, then we never really ever live. And a lot of folks that's stuck in PTSD, you know, they stay in that survival mode all the time, and they're disconnected from life. They can't enjoy anything in life. And a lot of us get caught up in that, and we just need to back up for a second, take a breath, and see kind of where we're at. Even my wife told me this morning, said, I need to take more time to look at stuff. And she's right. She's right. I have to be more mindful and stay present and focus on those things. So, many of us will have problems with these statements that I've said, and those that have body issues that are always on high alert will even have more problems with what I'm talking about. And maybe, just maybe, because you don't trust anything. You don't trust anybody. Maybe even you don't trust God. And, you know, sometimes we trust Him a little, but we don't trust Him very much. We're very guarded on that because we keep our heart closed up, we keep it walled off, and then we just try to live in our head. I got a question for you. How's that working for you? Well, it's got you right where you're at, for the good and for the bad. But my suggestion today, how about that? My suggestion is that we have to find a place to start. And there's a place inside of all of us that we can connect with that is a safe place. And you may not even know where that is. I've talked to a lot of people. It took a while to kind of dig down to that, and so that they could find that. But that's that core self. And that's, I've had to do that. I still have to go back to those places, and hopefully I'm better than I used to be, not as good as I'm going to be. And that I'm able to find that place, and that place is a beginning. Maybe kind of like as Pastor Hank talks about, sometimes you just have to clear off a clear spot and where you can get your footing, get solid, and so that you know where you stand. Kind of like what I was talking about a few weeks ago about hold your ground. Research has shown that some things on the heart, and there's a research firm that's called the Heart Math Institute. They done some scientific research about the heart here. And what they found out by using a test, they used a computer that did random images that they projected, and different individuals looked at those images. And some of the images were pleasant, and some of them were not pleasant at all. In fact, they may be frightful or scary. And the research was they were monitoring the brain, the heart, the skin, the respiration, and to see how the body was responding to these images that they come up. And they found a unique, some unique information. They found that the heart was responding to the pictures that the person hadn't even seen, and it was responding 4.8 seconds before they saw it. So somehow our heart knew what was out there. And they also said that the brain could respond. It did respond to a second and a half later than the heart. And before the image came up, the heart and the brain, a second half after that, synchronized together, so that they to see what they saw. And there's many other research things along this line that's very interesting. Our being is we're an amazing being. God has put us together, and there's a lot more about us than we know. I have the point, I'm going to tell you a story, but the point of this story is that oftentimes we instinctively or intuitively make decisions that help us throughout life. And you've made them, I've made them. Sometimes we just figure it was luck or it was just an accident, or somehow we just made the right choice. But we do it. We do it oftentimes, so many times that we don't even pay attention. But this friend of mine, back when we had the tornado here in Joplin several years ago, he was in a place of business and with his kids, and one of the store managers came by where they were and told them, "Hey, we're having a tornado. You need to go back to this designated area." And he said, "No, I'm not going to. I feel that we're safer right here, and I don't mean to be rude or hard, and I'm not trying to be disobedient, but I don't think that's a good idea. I think this right here, even though it didn't seem like very much shelter, but there was some objects that they could get in around and have around them." And he also told the person, he said, "And you need to do what you need to do, but I think it'd be better for you if you stayed here with us." That person didn't, and the area that they designated had a lot of it had more problems than the area than my friend was in, and so he said, "I don't know how I knew that. I just knew that I had to be in that place with my kids, and they were safe." They were frightened, of course, but they were safe. So, in conclusion here, we oftentimes block our heart. We even talk derogatory to our own heart, and we discount it. But oftentimes it tells us what to do, and then we override it with our brain. And I just want you to think, and I'm going to conclude with the scripture again, our centerpiece scripture, and this is out of Proverbs 3, 5, and 6. It says, "Trust in the Lord with your whole heart." And that's hard. That's hard. I know it's hard. But if we stay where we've always been, and we know what state that is, we're never going to get any better. We're going to have to push outside of that. So trust in the Lord with your whole heart. Lean not to your own understanding. Sometimes we think things are good, and but we had that gut feeling, if you will, that everyone there talks about, that we have to learn to begin to trust that. Now, I'm not saying be stupid, okay? What I'm saying is we connect our heart and our head together. And the research says when we do that, it actually opens up different parts of our brain, and we literally become smarter. So, and if we do that, He will direct our paths. He'll make them smoother and straighter. That would be okay with me. How about you? Take a deep breath and let it in. Hopefully this is beneficial to you. Hopefully you can find some encouragement out of that. And so until I see you again, I want to wish you a good night, a good day. How about this? A good life. May the Lord bless you and keep you, and may His face shine upon you and give you His peace. See you next time.